Hello, hello. Welcome to the Airport Safety Channel. I am your host, Isaac Otu, and it is a privilege to have you today. How well do you know your facility? Parts of a runway. Annex 14, Volume 1, Aerodromes, 9th edition. Chapter 3, Clearways. We are dealing with Clearways, and this is the second episode on the series on Clearways. In our previous episode, we looked at the definition, location, purpose, and standards of a Clearway. I will encourage you to watch the previous episode if you have not. Also subscribe, click the bell, and share for free with all your colleagues and friends. So what do you look out for when you are inspecting a Clearway? That is what we are focusing on today. And without wasting much time, I will jump straight into the things to look out for during an inspection. Okay, so the first thing that we will look at is slopes on Clearways. Annex 14, Chapter 3, Section 6.4 says that the ground in a Clearway should not project above a plane having an upward slope of 1.25%. The lower limit of this plane being a horizontal line which is perpendicular to the vertical plane containing the runway center line and passes through a point located on the runway center line at each end of the takeoff run available. Now, let's speak in plain language. What this tries to say is that in situations where the Clearway has different slopes compared to that of the runway, position yourself on the taxiway center line and look to the left and to the right. Measure either halfway towards the left or half the width of the runway towards the right, or 22.5 meters on each side of the runway center line. Then look at the slope or the slope changes and the transition from the runway to the Clearway, and ensure that the slopes of the runway conform with those of the Clearway, or the slopes of the Clearway conform with those of the runway. Once they conform, then your Clearway is compliant with Annex 14 requirements. Another item to note relative to the slopes on Clearways is that sudden or abrupt upward changes in slope should be avoided, especially when the slope on the ground in a Clearway is relatively small or when the mean slope is upward. An example, because of transverse or longitudinal slopes on runway, on the shoulder or strip, in certain cases, the lower limit of the Clearway plane may be below the corresponding elevation of the runway, so that the runway is higher or the strip is higher than the Clearway plane. It is not intended that these surfaces should be graded to conform to the lower limit of the Clearway plane, nor is it intended that the terrain or objects which are above the Clearway plane and beyond the end of the strip but below the level of the strip limits be removed, unless it is considered that they may be endangering aircraft operations. If you look at the picture on the screen, you can see that the area beyond the strip is higher than the strip, which means that it's above the Clearway also. Now, it is not necessary to grade this area to be at the same level of the Clearway because it does not endanger aircraft operations. It does not directly affect aeroplane performance, and also it does not pierce above the slope requirement, the 1.25% requirement of the plane. So if you have this at a distance and it doesn't affect aeroplane performance, it is not required that you should grade the area to be at the same level as the clearway. Now the last item we'll look at has to do with objects on clearways. Objects on clearways. So Annex 14 Chapter 3 Section 6.6 says that an object situated on a clearway which may endanger aeroplanes in the air should be regarded as an obstacle and should be removed. Remember, it may endanger aeroplanes in the air, so that any equipment or installation that is required for navigation purposes on the clearway should be of a minimum mass and height, should be frangibly designed and mounted, and sited in such a manner as to reduce the hazard to aircraft to the minimum. What this means is that if there's an object in the clearway, that object should be at a low height. It should not be too dense. That object should be frangible because aircraft take off above the clearway. And if that object has an impact on the aircraft, that object should give way and allow the aircraft to move safely without negatively affecting its performance. So all objects that rise beyond the 1.25% angle within the clearway should be brought below that angle as much as possible for the safety of aircrafts. Okay, so these are the items we'll discuss for today, and also I want you to know that safety is our bullet for today. And safety, as we mentioned last week, is the state in which risks associated with aviation activities related to or in direct support of the operation of aircraft are reduced to an acceptable level. This is how we define safety in aviation. Therefore, when identifying hazards in your operations, consider how the hazard impacts on aircraft or directly support of the operations of aircraft. Thank you for making it this far. Post your comments and questions. Subscribe and click the bell. Share with one and all. See you next week.